Hello everyone, welcome to Market Buzz. Today we are going to talk about credit default swap antitrust scheme. Now before we get into it, we need to understand what a credit default swap is. A credit default swap is a financial derivative or contract that allows an investor to swap or offset his or her credit risk with that of another investor. For example, if a lender is worried that a borrower is going to default on a loan, the lender could use a CDS to offset or swap that risk. To swap the risk of default, the lender buys a CDS from another investor who agrees to reimburse the lender in the case the borrower defaults. Most CDS contracts are maintained via an ongoing premium payment similar to the regular premiums due on an insurance policy. A credit default swap is the most common form of credit derivative and may involve municipal bonds, emerging market bonds, mortgage backed securities, or corporate bonds. Credit default swaps or CDS are credit derivatives contracts that enable investors to swap credit risk on a company, country, or other entity with another counterparty. Credit default swaps are the most common type of OTC credit derivatives and are often used to transfer credit exposure on fixed income products in order to hedge risk. Credit default swaps are customized between the two counterparties involved, which makes them opaque, illiquid, and hard to track for regulators. A credit default swap is designed to transfer the credit exposure of fixed income products between two or more parties. In a CDS, the buyer of the swap makes payment to the swap seller until the maturity date of the contract. In return, the seller agrees that in the event that the debt issuer defaults or experiences another credit event, the seller will pay the buyer the security's value as well as all interest payments that would have been paid between that time and the security's maturity date. In the CDS world, a credit event is a trigger that causes the buyer of protection to terminate and settle the contract. Credit events are agreed upon when the trade is entered into are part of the contract. The majority of single-named CDS are traded with the following credit events as triggered: reference entity bankruptcy, failure to pay, obligation acceleration, repudiation, and moratorium. A credit default swap is a type of credit derivative contract. Bonds and other debt securities have risk that the borrower will not repay the debt or its interest. Because debt securities will often have lengthy terms to maturity, as much as 30 years, it is difficult for the investor to make reliable estimates about that risk over the entire life of the instrument. Credit default swaps have become an extremely popular way to manage this kind of risk. The US Comptroller of the Currency issues a quarterly report on credit derivatives, and in the report issued in June 2020, it is placed that the size of the entire market at $4 trillion, of which CDS account for $3.5 trillion. A credit default swap is in effect insurance against non-payment. Through a CDS, the buyer can avoid the consequence of a borrower's default by shifting some or all that risk onto an insurance company or other CDS sellers in exchange for a fee. In this way, the buyer of the credit default swap receives credit protection while the seller of the swap guarantees the creditworthiness of the debt security. For example, the buyer of the credit default swap will be entitled to the par value of the contract by the seller of the swap, along with any unpaid interest should the issuer default on payments. It is important to note that the credit risk isn't eliminated, it has been shifted to the CDS seller. The risk is that the CDS seller defaults at the same time the borrower defaults. This is one of the primary causes of the 2008 credit crisis. CDS sellers like Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns, and AIG defaulted on their CDS obligations. While credit risk hasn't been eliminated through a CDS, a risk has been reduced. For example, if lender A has made a loan to borrower B with a mid-range credit rating, Lender A can increase the quality of the loan by buying a CDS from a seller with a better credit rating and financial backing than borrower B. The risk hasn't gone away, but it has been reduced through the CDS. If the debt issuer does not default and if all goes well, the CDS buyer will end up losing money through the payments on the CDS, but the buyer stands to lose a much greater portion of its investment if the issuer defaults and if it had not bought a CDS. As such, the more the holder of the security thinks its issuer is likely to default, the more desirable a CDS is and the more it will cost. Now, if you want to read more about CDS, I'll leave down this link in the description below. Coming to this article, Citi, Goldman, and other banks accused of CDS antitrust scheme. New Mexico's sovereign wealth fund brought a federal antitrust lawsuit claiming Bank of America, Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, and other top financial institutions rigged the credit default swap market by manipulating a key benchmark. The proposed class action, docketed Thursday, also targets Barclays, BNP Paribas, Credit Suisse, Deutsche, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, NatWest Group, and three industry groups. By rigging the final auction price used to value all CDS contracts market wide at settlement, the banks have made billions of dollars in cartel profits at the expense of non dealer market participants, according to the complaint filed in the US District Court for the District of New Mexico. Credit Suisse, Deutsche Bank, Goldman, and JP Morgan declined to comment Thursday. The other banks didn't immediately respond to request for comment. The case concerns a system allegedly orchestrated by the banks starting in 2005 for pricing credit default swaps through auctions rather than bilateral negotiations between investors standing on both sides. CDS are financial derivatives that work by paying out to holders of investments that are impaired by a credit event like a default in exchange for premium like payment over the life of the instrument. They can also be used to speculate on investments not owned by the swap holder. The banks promoted industry wide adoption of the auction process by telling regulators during the 2008 financial crisis that it would clean up some of the derivative trading practices that had led to the meltdown, according to the complaint filed by New Mexico State Investment Council. The reality was much different, the suit says. They allegedly formed a dealer only working group that had no formal name and whose existence was not publicized, through which they agree only banks would be allowed to participate directly in the auction. Shrouded from the public, the working group built secrecy and lack of scrutiny into the DNA of the CDS auction process, according to the complaint. Although the scheme began in 2005, the litigation filing window remained open because the conspiracy was self concealing, the suit says. Because the bankers operate without serious government oversight under a regulatory patchwork that divides authority over swaps among different agencies, they have not been caught before now, according to the complaint. We need to understand that these financial institutions are continuing their market manipulation, due to which the 2008 financial crisis has begun in the first place and there is no end to it. They look to become profitable in their own ways and they do not care about the retail investors or its effects on the economy. Next thing we are going to talk about is inflation and its effects on the food prices and what is happening right now. Global food costs finally drop after surge to decade high. United Nations Global Food Index fell in June after a 12-month advance. Still, consumers may not feel mild drop. Global food prices fell for the first time in a year, potentially offering some relief for consumers and easing inflationary pressures. A United Nations gauge of food costs dropped 2.5% in June, easing from a 9-year high and marking the first decline since May 2020. Prices of vegetable oils and cereals declined during the month, offsetting gains in meat and sugar. Cost of grains to meat to vegetable oils, ingredients that feed through to countless grocery items rallied this year on big Chinese imports, the reopening of economies, and weather risk to crops. Last month's decline could reduce inflation risk, both for central bank facing pressure to tighten stimulus measures as well as poorer nations that are highly dependent on imports to feed their population. Now look at the chart which showcases the United Nations Global Index post first decline in a year. It has been rallying since 2020 during the pandemic beginning, and it has dropped right now. But is this temporary? Maybe not. Still, the index tracks cost on raw material level, and it takes time for price changes to feed through to store shelves. Shipping costs have also soared, complicating trade of production like sugar, and the UN Food and Agriculture Organization last month predicted the global food import bill to hit an all-time high in 2021. I don't think that we'll see the impact of this mild decline being felt by consumers given all the other factors that we know are still there. Abdulreza Abessian, a senior economist at the FAO, said by phone. There may be more relief in store for consumers in the medium to long term. A recent outlook from the UN and Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development forecast slowing demand and rising output to temper food prices in the coming years. And on Thursday, the UN said it expects global grain stockpiles to rise 2.4% in 2021-22, the first increase in 4 seasons. World food prices still remain historically high, up about 34% from the same time last year. Crop prices are hinging on the weather in the months ahead to determine whether harvest in Europe and North America will be large enough to replenish strained stockpiles. Much of this will depend on China's imports in the months ahead, Abashian said, citing a rising outlook for the country's corn stockpiles. Income losses during the pandemic are also exacerbating food insecurity, adding to the challenges from high prices, the World Food Programme said in the separate statement on Thursday. We already have conflict, climate, and COVID 19 working together to push more people into hunger and misery, WFP chief economist Arif Hussain said. Now, food prices have joined the deadly trio. From all of this, one thing we need to understand is that the banks continue to manipulate the market. On the other hand, inflation is running hot with goods and service prices rising substantially. In this scenario, only the everyday investors are the losers, but the millionaires and billionaires see no effect. Always invest with caution, and if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel for latest updates.